Thanks so much for accepting to do an interview with me, Eric. You are Eric Bergaglia, the global head of accommodation segments at Booking.com. So I'm extremely pleased to have you today in this interview. We're going to talk everything with the latest news of Booking.com. So thank you so much for being here.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. That's nice to meet you.
Cheers, Eric. So let's launch ourselves straight into it. Please tell us what your position is at Booking.com and what are your responsibilities? How big is your team?
So I'm global head of accommodation segments, what it means, what's in that bucket. I'm heading up all the alternative accommodation business globally for Booking.com, as well as families and groups business, the chains product piece, and also the longer stays segments. So all these growth segments for Booking.com. And for all of these, especially for alternative accommodations, the teams working on this in Amsterdam, but also in the countries and other support functions are here to help just tailor the experience on Booking.com for the partners on the one side and for the customers on the other, so that we can grow with our partners in all those different segments. Obviously, alternative accommodations being the biggest one at the moment.
That's great. That is the biggest one. We like to hear that. So you're the perfect person for me to talk to, because obviously, as our relationship between Rentals United and Booking.com, we're your connectivity partner. So we're going to dive into that a bit later. But first, I wanted to find out what is the scoop? What are the latest search trends that you can share with us?
So I wouldn't say a scoop, but I think in terms of latest trends, I think things that are known by now. Domestic travel is big. We announced in our quarterly earnings call last week that 85% of the room nights that we had globally were for domestic, and definitely it applies to alternative accommodations as well. So domestic travel is big. We see international travel slowly but surely coming back, but definitely domestic is still a big trend. And we know that in the US, also some research that we made shows that travel, 53%, if I remember correctly, of US travelers still don't feel necessarily entirely comfortable traveling abroad. So it's domestic travel is, at least for this year, here to stay. Flexibility, I think, is very important. The majority of our bookings, especially for the summer, are on flexible policies. So while we know that partners prefer to have non-refundable, we know that up to 70% of customers worldwide put now flexibility as the must-have for how they make their decision for travel, and ability to also be flexible on dates. So flexibility is also another key trend. And I guess all the things that we know by now in terms of non-urban, rural, nature destinations, longer-term stays as well. Like, for example, being able to work from anywhere. We've seen the lengths of stay almost triple in some destinations. So I think all those trends that we've seen, I think, echo what we've seen also in a lot of articles over the past few quarters. But definitely, this is a confirmed trend, and we see families also booking, coming stronger in preparation for the summer.
Great. I love the digital nomad trend. So the longer stays is quite new for Booking.com, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Until end of last year, we never had the ability to book for more than 28 nights. For various reasons, most of them conscious decision to try to focus more on the other segments, but we've been exploring that, and I guess last year accelerated our desire to go deeper into that segment. So we did two things. One is allow already for the 7 to 28 nights ability to optimize the listings and the properties. So, for example, introducing weekly rates so that partners can provide the best possible price for this. We'll also improve the discoverability and experience for the customers. And we have started a few pilots in some cities around the world for bookings beyond 30 days. And we are preparing right now extension scaling of this to the world, or at least starting with a few countries, including the US. So more to that, but this is coming.
Great, like news. So the US. Let's talk about the US. You are expanding there at the moment. So, what can US property managers expect from Booking.com expanding in the US?
So what can they expect? I think first, maybe one, just taking a step back, I would say that as a reminder, Booking.com is the leading OTA worldwide and the second largest platform in terms of vacation rental bookings. So we've been operating in the US for a while already. We partner with a lot of different property management companies and partners like you who have properties there. So this is not new, but definitely I think it has been an increasing focus over the past couple of years, and definitely this year is really a go big year for us in the US. So what's happening at one? We are going bigger in marketing. So maybe your US audience has seen the Welcome Back America campaign that Booking.com has launched, where the creatives and messaging is quite heavy on the vacation rental side of things. And this is the first step. We have more vacation rental specific campaigns coming to the US. So in terms of demand generation, more is to come. And we see already from an anecdotal feedback from some of the key partners we have in the US that we're growing our share of their bookings in a steady way. So I think this is starting to pick up, and we're engaging, we're switching gears in the US already, but more to come on the marketing side. I think one important thing for partners to know also is that on Booking.com, a majority of people come without necessarily a preference in terms of which property type they want to book. So they want to go to Florida with their family for 2 weeks, and could be a hotel, could be a chain, could be a home. So I think this is a great opportunity also for US partners to try to attract incremental kind of demand. So that's important. This combined with the billboard effect, because as we know, 35% of direct bookings come from being present on OTAs. So I think this is also something that they should have in mind. And then I guess it's the ability to capture a new kind of customers. Maybe customers willing to, especially international customers, when income comes back, probably next year. In the meantime, already we see different kind of demographics. We have obviously everything from families to couples, solo travelers, remote workers, etc. on the platform, and we've been optimizing for this in the past couple of years. So now we are ready to fully capture all that potential in the coming months already and coming years. So that's in a nutshell a bit what you can expect of Booking.com in the US from a demand perspective, customer, but also partner experience.
Love it. I'm going to make some bullet points out of that and put them in the comments so people can reread. So in terms of, you said property managers will be able to expect more international customers. That's great. What kind of average number of nights, kind of budgets? Do you have these kind of stats for us? Maybe
it very much varies, and I guess especially in the current context, depending on what kind of traveler, what are the restrictions that apply, etc. It's hard to say. I think one thing already that is important is you can find all these insights on the extranet or through connectivity. Already, we have the Market Insights API that we just released with some partners, including Hotels United. So this provides you with all the latest booking, search trends, demand patterns that we see from what kind of policies are the most booked for your market or your competitive set, to pricing elements. Things around families or international domestic bookers. I think that will allow you also to have actionable things afterwards. Like if you see that there's a lot of mobile customers coming, like maybe implement mobile rates and And so all these insights are available for each partner in the different platforms that we have for them. So I think that's it. Then also, I think, as I mentioned before, domestic bookers. I think this is a big trend. Flexibility is key as well. So being able to make sure that you have a non-refundable and a flexible rate. I think this is table stakes in the current context. And once you have that, making sure that if you have a property that is perfectly a perfect fit for families, you make sure that you have a child rate and the right content that shows that you have all the facilities, amenities that address all the privacy, space, health, safety concerns or expectations of the customers.
Yeah, it's so customizable. Your API is incredible. It's great. And I think many people don't know how far you can go with Booking.com. And I think in the hotel world, it's much more common, but for property managers, still many are learning. And we find ourselves at most times really consulting on what would be the best rates. And your tool for that is incredible. Yeah, really, really good. So let's talk about us. Since I'm there, why is it important to partner with Rentals United, and what do you expect of a relationship with us?
Well, I think we've been working together for years, and I know from feedback we got from partners working with you, and also from the teams working on the day-to-day with Rentals United. I think this is the knowledge of the platform. I think you are a premier connectivity partner, which means that you are one of the most knowledgeable of how things work on Booking.com, one of the best in terms of connectivity with the connectivity solutions and how these are implemented to optimize on Booking.com. And I think you always show a very strong bias for action for all the new stuff that we have. You're also on the advisory board of Booking.com, so helping us improve on behalf of the property managers. I think that's what we like. I think, and one of the values. Recently, I mentioned you guys to a few partners who are trying to considering working with us, and I'm not sure should we try to connect directly or should we try to go through someone else. And I think your name comes almost all the time first in the recommendations. I think especially because of this, and this is very important, this knowledge of how to properly connect and set up things so that your property is from day one ready to convert. I think there's a lot of things that, as you mentioned, like this is, you compete against hotels where 28 million listings on Booking.com, 6.5 million of these worldwide are for alternative accommodations. That's, we have obviously also a lot of demand, but still you need to be able to be properly set up to succeed in that kind of ecosystem, especially in the current context where there's scarcity of demand. And I think through a partnership with Rentals United, clearly you are equipped for success with the right kind of setup from the get-go, from policies to content, images, all the different things, and also the ability to act on any feedback that you would get or insights that you would get in terms of optimizing pricing or policies or content, etc., etc. So I think this is just an overview of what I think is important for any property manager when they consider working with you or someone else.
Thanks so much. That's music to my ears. Thank you, and congrats to our team for doing such a great job. So I won't bother you much longer, but I would like to know what does the future hold? Booking.com is a very dynamic company, right? So what's next?
That's a good question. I wish I knew. No, I think we are we as an industry, I think, are definitely in a much better place. We see the US as a great example of that thing. When you look at the US, you know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. So that's great. We see also some clearly the appetite of travelers to come back. One thing is longer stays. is something that will be key. We know that from research as well that almost 40% of travelers worldwide say that when they are able to travel internationally again, most likely they will travel for more than a week. So this is a very important trend for sure. And this goes with the digital nomads working from anywhere kind of trend. I remember also another 40% number from our research that was quite interesting of travelers who have considered or have working remotely, and a similar number actually also being willing to quarantine if they can work from abroad. So I think this is something that is particularly important. I think the international travel will come back. We don't know exactly when, obviously, and it will take years, not months, for the industry to come back. And see some articles saying that 2022 is going to be the full recovery. Not sure about that, but at least we know that we are on the right path. And I think when international travels come back, I think it's important that partners are ready, and including being on all the relevant platforms that can give them access to that international demand. And apart from that, I think COVID, the COVID crisis is very changed the landscape on 2 or 3 levels. I think one, alternative accommodation is here to stay, even more than before. I am saying it's going to take all the market share from hotels, but at least the awareness that you can book a home as well is something that maybe people didn't have before. So, for a platform like Booking.com, when you have all accommodations, maybe you have a level playing field and even more chances to convert. So I think this is great for the property managers. The other one is flexibility. It's not necessarily the thing that a property manager will prefer, but this is what people want. And I think being able to have a flexible policy and also the perfect transparency in terms of what health and safety measures you have in place, I think will be table stakes for whoever want to operate in that industry. So I think if you do this right and if you focus on this, I think you'll be able to capture whatever's is coming. So let's see about that. But I think that's what I have in my crystal ball right now.
Thank you. No, that's great. Great words of encouragement and actionable tips, which is great. So thank you so much for doing this. If people listening, watching this interview want to meet Eric, we're going to see each other at the VRMA, aren't we?
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can be there.
Fingers crossed we get there. Yeah, from Europe.
Yeah.
So I look forward to hanging out with you then. Thank you so much.
Same here. Thanks
Thanks so much.
See you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.